It took a lot for me to get on this camera and talk about this goddamn Insecure, y'all. Sunday night, I was like, I don't feel like talking about this shit. Then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it Monday. I was like, nah, I don't want to do it then. I'm like, I just don't want to do it, y'all. This season is incredibly boring. It's so boring. This episode was boring. Last episode was boring. Like I said, the best episode of this season so far is Lawrence's episode. And like I said last week, I just remember watching every episode of season 1 and season 2 being fully entertained and fully amused. And it started with season 3. Season 3 was the first time I watched Insecure, and I was like, that's it. Like, I was expecting more, didn't get shit. Then season 4 was great. I was fully entertained that full season. And then here we are, season 5, and I feel like we done got 4 boring episodes out of 5. So, I'm over it. I'm really over it. Me trying to do like a full scene by scene review, that shit ain't happening. I think I just want to talk about a couple things that stuck out to me on this episode, and that was Issa finally being the friend to Molly that Molly has always been to her. We've always seen Molly go out of her way to be there for Issa, being her emotional lapdog. And Issa pretty much, the only thing Issa could try to do was give what? She didn't even really give relationship advice or dating advice. So, her going out of her way to make sure that she was there for Molly, swapping clothes with her. And I'm like, I don't know why they keep trying to convince us that Molly and Issa are the same size when they're not. Molly has always been the skinnier friend. With that being said, her swapping clothes with Molly so she can get out of that awkward ass, like, dude, the patients and the nurses and the doctors who happen to be walking past can all see your thigh, Molly. Like, I mean, I get it. In a sense of emergency, you like, hey, I need to get the fuck off this dude's face and go straight to the hospital. But it's like, not in that, especially like, did she even have drawers on? Did she even put her drawers on? Like, I guess we'll never know. But, she runs to the hospital and, oh my God. Okay, this part was funny. When the doctor delivered them the news, but it was the news for the lady down the street and not their mom. That was pretty funny. But it was just a boring episode. But like I said, it was just nice to see Issa finally be there for my Aunt Molly and asking her what did she need in that moment. And really all she needed was a friend. But, Issa did agree to swap clothes with her and go get some clothes at her house. Nathan picks her up. And he really could have just stayed out of this episode, y'all. They could have just brought Tiffany and Kelly in to come rally in support of Molly as a sisterhood and bringing Nathan in. Because her and Nathan went back, noticed Flavor Flav was at home by himself with no food and no water. And then decided to walk him so he could go use the bathroom. But I am sure dogs, especially dogs you've been trained for a while, they know to hold it until you take them outside. And two, I'm pretty sure somebody like Molly would have little pee pads around the house. They could have easily just fed him, gave him some water, and been out the door. But for them to take him on that walk, and then the whole episode is them walking around, eventually talking about nothing, and then eventually losing Flavor Flav, going to go find him, but not really. He ended up finding them. This episode was just so fucking boring. Nothing was going on. The only thing that was going on was Molly and her family. That shit was understandable and relatable. Like, her parents hiding the fact from her that she had a stroke is a far cry from how my mom would have handled that shit. My mom would have told all of us the day after it happened, and going into the week after it happened, that she had a stroke, and she had never fucking let it go. My mom is a motherfucking hypochondriac, so you already know, ain't no way she would have had a fucking stroke, heart attack, none of that stuff. Hell, her feet hurt, and she will not fail to let us know. So I guess it's different when there is an active partner in the house, somebody to watch over them instead of it just being the kids. But that was relatable. The son, I can't remember what was it? Damn. I think she has one brother named Jerome. I can't remember the oldest brothers. Well, Curtis and Jerome. Jerome is the younger brother. Jerome, he's being all dramatic and shit, saying, why did I have to tell her food wasn't that good? Now, and that's another thing. My mom has cooked for years. It ain't never been something that she cooked that ain't good. And then it's like, for years. So it's like, ain't no way she'll make something now that's not good. So that was pretty funny to me. Like, did she just decide to experiment, make some new shit that was trash? Now, we already know what we're getting. We already know how it's going to taste, okay? With that being said, he's going off the deep end. The older brother normally has, like, the most to say, but he really didn't have much to say this episode. Aunt Kiki, she's, like, feeling like she may or may not have cancer all of a sudden. Talking about it starts off as a cough, but it sounds like a sneeze. Is that cancer? You know how the old lady gang does. But Molly was saying to them, I can't help y'all if y'all keep pretending everything is all right. And like, that was a word, because a lot of times people will do that. I don't like to go to nobody for help when it comes to stuff like that. I prefer to just handle all that stuff on my own. I don't tell nobody my personal business as far as that is concerned. And that's really just feeling like, you just don't want to hear what people have to say. That's for me personally. A lot of times people just can't help you and just shut the fuck up. A lot of times people have to dig in, find out why, and then start issuing their judgments. It's like, I don't want to hear none of that shit. That's why I don't tell people what's going on with me. I just deal with that shit, internalize it, and keep it the fuck moving. Anyway, that was all good content, but Issa and Nathan literally walking around talking about nothing. Like, he could have talked more about his bipolar disorder. He could have fully went in and talked about why he ghosted Issa. He could have talked about how the shit with his cousin and his wife made him feel. Hell, she could have been talking to him about the drama with Crenshaw, and he could have helped her with that and made her be like, Issa, you need to go apologize because you had him fucked up. You wanted to see him as this artist, but once your boss started breathing down your neck, you want him to change shit at last minute when you wanted to get him because of who he was. They wasn't talking about that. Motherfucking Wendy Raquel Robinson, who is a terrible mom for Issa. Especially considering the fact, I'm assuming we're never going to see Issa's father. It's a terrible pick for that to be. And where's Jamal? Like, where's Issa's brother? 5 episodes in. That is a terrible pick for her mom. Like, ain't no way. It's possible, but it just doesn't look right for Wendy Raquel Robinson to be Issa's mom. Like I said, they could have got Loretta Devine. They could have got AJ Johnson. They could have gotten the woman who was on Parenthood with Robert Townsend, who just died not too long ago. I can't remember her name. They could have got plenty of brown skin or dark skin actresses to be Issa's mom. Especially, well, we don't know if she's Nigerian or African in the show. She could just be acting as African American in the show. But regardless, Wendy is a terrible pick for Issa's mom. And I felt like when I was watching her in her scene, I felt like I was watching Tasha Mack. Like, that's why I felt like, I don't know if that's Wendy Raquel Robinson's default personality, if that's just how she is. Or, she was doing the Sea Walk not too long ago and it was lit. But she's just a terrible pick for her mom. And literally watching her, I felt like I was watching Tasha Mack from The Game. And her scene was good, but it's like, this is still boring. Nathan, he makes a step and declares that he's Issa's boyfriend. And then once they finally go sit down, and then, how was you looking at me? I know that look. That look meant something. Like this, it was just all boring dialogue, y'all. It was trash. They go sit down and Flavor Flav finds out. I'm like, what if that ain't even Flavor Flav? What if that's just a random, what is that, a pit bull terrier or something? I don't know what the fuck it is. A dog I would never get. Finds them, and then she's like, it was, and then she was like, you so patient with me. That's why I love you. Like, Issa, for real? And then I feel like this whole time skip shit wasn't a good idea because she broke up with Lawrence a year ago, a year and some change. And now all of a sudden, she's only been in a couple episodes with Nathan. So now all of a sudden you love this dude? Love him based off what? Y'all have never really been together for an extended period of time. And then I guess if you could look at it in two different ways, like I love this about you, that you're here for me in this way, or she actually loves him. But it's like, love him like what? It doesn't fucking make sense, y'all. So this episode this episode was just boring. We have 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 episodes left. Hopefully, because we don't even know if we get 10 episodes. They may just drop this shit back down to 8. We can have 3, but this season has been trash. Like, I don't even know what else to say. It's like, season 3, I always said the subject matter was good. It just was not funny. And that's what they tell us the show is. It's a half-hour comedy, but it's not funny. So it's like, it should have been drama/comedy. So then you come into the expectation like you're going to get both or one or not the other. Season 3 had really good drama, and it didn't get funny until Coachella and when Lawrence and Chad were reintroduced back into the show, because they're funny as a collective. Nathan isn't funny. He's not really entertaining. He's boring. He's really boring. His voice is boring. Like, it's bland and monotonous. He don't have no friends like Chad. He don't, like, where's Andrew? Where's Julian? And then his people from the barbershop weren't entertaining either. So it's like, it's just, I used to, like, look forward to watching this show every week. Now it's like, I'm just watching it because it's on. I've been watching it this long. That's literally where I'm at with Insecure right now. It's just so boring, y'all. It's so boring. And, actually, it was good to see Issa finally be there for Molly, but it was like, dude, if you couldn't be there when my mama was having a stroke, we really don't need to be friends. So, yeah, y'all, that's all I got. It was just trash. I don't know how to say it enough. It was not good. And I was thinking, like, maybe I should watch this episode a second time and fully get into it. But I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. I feel like I made my mind up. Oh, I didn't even talk about this part. So at the end of the episode, Issa's wandering around the hospital in the outfit that she took from Molly, that Molly is never getting back. And she sees Condola Hayes holding Elijah Mustafa. And then Lawrence Walker appears in the cut. Now, here's one thing that confused me. Condola's last name is Hayes. So at first I was thinking when the whole Elijah Mustafa thing came about, I'm like, well, maybe Condola's last name is Mustafa. But no, it's Hayes. So I thought, and this is someone who doesn't even have children, I thought when you name the child has to have the last name of either parent. So that's why I thought her name was Mustafa, but it's Hayes. And then when Lawrence was talking to Chad about it, he was like, Walker's a good name. Who don't want their baby to walk? But I'm just like, okay, so what is the baby's last? And then at the baby's, the baptism, the pastor, whatever, announced him as Elijah Mustafa Walker. So I'm like, is his middle name Mustafa? Somebody explain this to me, because it's like, and then I know she said that the baby's named after her grandfather, but what's his last name? Because I didn't know that you could have a baby and not give the baby either parent's last name. Because the baby's name, if anything, should be Elijah Mustafa Hayes, right? Excuse me. I don't know. This is confusing. I'm going to need somebody to break this down for me. But yeah, Issa and Lawrence look at each other. And then, like I said last week, I feel like Lawrence is going to move back to LA and he's going to break all that Nathan shit up. And Issa may or may not go back to Lawrence, or she may just be off the both of them and then just go and just become single, be single for the rest of the show. I don't know, but I know it's not gonna go well. But it'd be interesting to see how Lawrence and Condola are doing as parents, if they're ever gonna rekindle their romance, because the only thing that got in the way of them being together was the fact that she was not ready to be in something serious. But you have a child now, so all that playing around shit is over with. So that's all I got. Oh, another thing I want to mention really quick is how Kelly was upset about being looked at as the joke all her life, but the show is still depicting her as the joke. Wasn't making sense to me. But that's all I got, y'all. I ain't got no more. I'll see y'all next week.